Last week we talked about having gratitude through the holiday season, especially when focusing on, in the month of November, staying focused on gratitude, thankfulness, and rest. And today, grab you a cup of coffee, and we're going to talk about the things we're not doing and the things we're saying no to in November. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for Worship Wednesday. This past week, and like I've said before, this is kind of like my vlog on things that we're doing in our life right now and things that are going on, and my personal journey of becoming a pastor's wife and how my husband is training to be a pastor. This past week, I felt like the Lord and everything in my life was screaming, you need to slow down, you need to rest, and you need to start saying no to things. So I film these on Tuesday, Wednesday, depending on my schedule. And so last week, Wednesday, what did we do last week, Wednesday? Last week, Wednesday, I think we had a normal Wednesday night service, which is weird because we hadn't had a normal Wednesday night service in forever. It just has been one of those seasons where it just either people were sick or they had special services or whatever. So it was nice to just have a Wednesday night service. And what I love about Wednesday night services now, especially when being in ministry, is it's the night that Matt and I can sit down together to learn, to worship together, and just be together in ministry without like serving and constantly being up and moving about, because Sundays are so busy. Like, even though he's not the pastor and he's not like in position, which he doesn't have to for us to serve. I'm just saying, like, right now, even while he's just training to be a pastor, like, there's parts of just being in ministry, and we both have ministries that we're working in, and sometimes together and sometimes separately. There's a lot of just moving parts. I feel like I get to church on Sunday, say hi to a few people, and then immediately run off to check on nursery or check on this room, check on that, check on this order that came in, meet with this person, check on this person. And like, there's a lot of go. Wednesday night, I was like, you know what? And I had heard years ago from a friend that I wanted to start prioritizing on Wednesday nights, focusing on a friend of mine let me start here. A friend of mine years ago had said that Wednesday nights you should prioritize for your family, and you should fight to have that family time and worship time with your family, especially with your spouse. And I'd heard that years ago, but at the time I heard that, I just felt like it didn't apply to me. So now, fast forward now, Wednesday night, I was like, and I told Matt this, I said, I think we should definitely prioritize, because we're so busy on Sunday mornings and Sunday afternoons and being at the church multiple days a week, cleaning, working, renovating, whatever, that we should prioritize making sure on Wednesday nights it's the two of us sitting together and just getting to sit through a service together. Especially with our kids older now. The two young adults are either helping with our Wednesday night kids ministry, or they have started sitting with a widow who her grandkids have grown and gone, and they have their own life now. And then she's a widow, recently widowed, like within the past couple years. So like, it's okay for them to do that. But then our teens also have youth group, and they have been loving youth group, and I love the way our new youth pastor is running youth group, and it's working really well for them. And then they get to go have dinner with their youth group at church. So like, it gives us that time of sitting down together and just worshiping together. And I've really started to appreciate Wednesday nights more often. Then Thursday, I had a huge to-do list for our Thursday at church work day. And I didn't accomplish anything on that list this past Thursday. So instead, there was this one project that I just felt the Lord was like, this is what I want you to work on today. And it took all day, and it was one job. And I love the way that it turned out when we were finished. And I just felt like the Lord was like, that was what was most important for you right now. The rest of this can wait. So I focused on just that. Friday, we had our normal grocery shopping to do, and I had forgot. So for some reason, we don't know why, For some reason, my debit card expired in November, but like all of our automatic bill stuff was like demanding we get it done before November 1st for like when stuff came out in November. It expired in November, not December. So like technically through the month of November, it still would have worked. But for some reason, all of our stuff was freaking out. So like as soon as it arrived, I went ahead and changed everything over and then left my debit card at home whenever I went to go grocery shopping. I was like, okay, no problem. I have my PayPal card because we have a YouTube channel and because we used to have an Etsy shop. We have a PayPal business account. So I was able to pull that card out. Well, because it was linked to my new debit card, and fun fact, at our bank, your brand new debit card has to be swiped at a physical location before you can make virtual purchases with it. Well, for some reason, even though the PayPal debit card was being physically swiped, the debit card, the bank debit card, decided that that didn't count, that was a virtual purchase. So then I'm sitting in the checkout line for 30 minutes waiting to hear back from Matt. I'm freaking out, trying to get everything to work. And he starts getting a bunch of texts of like, somebody's trying to use your PayPal. Somebody's trying to use your PayPal. And I didn't know this. I was just freaking out like, okay, I'll just keep retrying it. I added the card again, double check PayPal again, tried retrying it again. No, nothing. Tried linking Walmart. Oh, if you pay for Walmart Plus, then you can, but it still wouldn't have worked with the new card, even though I had the new card number memorized, because it had to be swiped at a physical location before it could be purchased or used virtually. So like that still wouldn't have worked. So he ended up having to go in and like physically move money from our bank to PayPal. That was stressful. Then, as I'm leaving Walmart and fixing to head to Aldi, which is where the bulk of our groceries were from, Walmart was for physical things and a couple of base groceries, but my majority of my grocery haul was going to be Aldi. And on top of this, I had like the groceries for most of the 6 of us, and then I had the groceries for my 2 young adults for house sitting, and you saw that grocery haul 2 days ago. But like I had those grocery things that I needed to get, and we had a date night that night. So it had worked out like the first available date that we had for like a double date with some friends of ours was that Friday night, because like we had to work it out with their schedule, our schedule, and then our young adults and teens were going to stay with their kids at their house and their adorable puppy. Trying to get out the door, and like I'm like, I need to get home. And I get a text from the bank that said, we think there's fraudulent activity on your card. If you don't reply to this text immediately, we're going to turn your card off. Oh, great. Matt's at work. He's using his card to put money into PayPal, and somehow transferring money to PayPal counted as a fraud. But then when somebody hacked our account and was putting money into a video game purchase, that didn't count as fraud. I was like, okay, whatever. So I send the notification, then I send screenshots to Matt just to let him know that I took care of it. He texts me when he gets on his next break and is like, wait, what? Why did they? Because technically the account was Matt's before I joined the account as a joint account. So he should have got the notification, not me. But thank the Lord that worked out, because if he had gotten it and had not responded within 10 minutes, they were going to turn his card off until he physically called them or showed up at a location. The bank is 30 minutes from his work, and he was at work, and I had the only vehicle. So it all ended up working out, but like it was so stressful. And then like we're trying to get there, and then we go to order the pizza for the kids online we were going to pick it up and take it there. Well, the location closest to us didn't have gluten-free pizza, and we didn't want our kids having to cook pizza while there were younger kids in the house and a very active puppy, and we wanted them to just have fun. So we made the executive decision to just spend the extra, and it was probably double what I would normally pay for pizza, but just buy pizza out. Well, then we go to do it, and because just all the circumstances, and then again, my card declined again. Matt had to go in and put his card in and set up a new account for him for the location we were using. And then they're like, oh, well, you took so long that now it's rush hour. It's going to be an hour until the pizza's done. Well, we have to be at the other people's house in half an hour, and we're supposed to be showing up with the pizza in half an hour. And we're like, okay. So then I text them on my way. Well, then the people that we're going with, and then they text us on my way back and said, hey, I worked with this group before. Just call them and tell them you want to do it at a delivery. We'll Venmo you the extra money for it to be switched to delivery because they charge you delivery fee now, which isn't the tip to the driver. So Matt goes, or I give Matt the only cash I have in my wallet, and I'm like, give this to the driver. And it was a little bit above and beyond for a tip for the driver. And he handed it to one of the kids and was like, give this tip to the money, get tip money to the driver when he gets there. They had a Ring door camera, so we weren't worried about like weirdos showing up at the house or something. We got notification when the driver arrived and all that, so it worked out. But I get there and I'm just like, And then I didn't care, but they kind of cared a little. Their dog had been running in the backyard and had clay on her paws, because East Tennessee, and she got it on my shirt, and I was like, I don't really care. It's fine, whatever. It'll come out. It didn't, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But then like, the other people, like, we drove together and I didn't drive. And normally I'm the driver because Matt's back acts up really bad when he's driving. He can make it to and from work. It's a short distance, but like long distances, he just really can't drive anymore. He did do Disney, but he found with the newer vehicles, it's less of a problem, but he still had some problems with it. But anyways, normally I drive, and that's just that's how we've worked it out. I'm fine driving. But it was nice to just like sit and not be driving and look out the window and talk with people and look at the fall trees. And it was like, wow, this was nice. And then to be able to go out to a new restaurant and just to be able to go in this beautiful setting and have a nice meal and just talk together with people that actually cared about things that we're doing and stuff. And it was so funny because it was two preachers going out to eat together, and like, Matt got into that preaching voice, and I leaned over to the other preacher's wife, and I'm like, that's his preaching voice. We're going to be here a minute. She goes, oh, that's his too. So yeah, we're definitely going to be here a minute. So we just like sat back like this for a minute, and we had eSword pulled up on our phones and was looking at verses that they're both like just letting out. And it was a fun evening. And then on Saturday, we had an at-home cleaning day, and like, I needed that. There's some days that I just need that home reset. I need to take care of things on a Saturday that just aren't getting done during the week. And we were able to do that. Then Sunday morning, because I had bought the breakfast pizza at Aldi. I love their bacon and pepper and onion blend breakfast pizzas. I have gravies for the sauce, and the thin crust is a biscuit. It's so good. But it was such an easy breakfast for first Sunday. And then my oldest one, what we've started doing with her is when she starts running low, we do a baking day, and she freezes a bunch of gluten-free breakfast, and she's okay with that. And then she spices it however she wants, and she can make it however she wants, and she doesn't have to worry about like, oh, well, so-and-so won't like this, so I can't put this in it. No, it's hers. She can do whatever she wants with it. And she started liking it that way. Like, she can customize her own breakfast. And then we had oranges to go with it. And Matt and I had coffee, and the kids that wanted it had hot tea, herbal tea, or hot chocolate. That's what I was trying to say. And it just made like such a nice breakfast. And then even though first Sundays were crazy busy, we had a nice breakfast to go into. We had a great lunch that was supplied for us, because when our church has choir practice, the choir members and their families get lunch afterwards. And that's been a huge blessing to us. And then after lunch, we had about an hour and a half before our next meeting. And Matt and I just went down to the homeschool helpers room, and like, we were able to just sit and read Bible. And then he was studying his next sermon, and I was able to just look at the planner and put stuff into the planner and sit and rest. I thought about falling asleep, but I had like a full face of makeup on. I didn't want to the whole, if you know, but like, it's really bad to fall asleep with makeup on. And I didn't really want to do that. And I also I also didn't want to lay down anywhere at church with full face of makeup on. I didn't want to remove it, but an hour before a meeting or anything. And I brought stuff to freshen up, but I didn't want to put a full face of makeup on just so I could lay down for 30 minutes to an hour. So we made tea and coffee instead. And then I got to the meeting, and then my my pastor's wife, my friend, brought me a pumpkin spice latte. I had not had a Starbucks pumpkin spice latte this year, and I hadn't had a pumpkin spice latte from like a physical location in years. Just it's hard for us to get to those because we don't have, well, yeah, we do have one of those in our location now, but it was nice to just take some time to rest. And then also on Thursday, my pastor's wife had handed me this printout that if you're part of Homeschool Helpers, spoiler, you're going to get it as part of the Bible lesson next week. But one of the things that made Sunday so special in that hour and a half, this is taking 16 minutes to get to this, but this is also kind of like part of the story of like how Matt and I are trying to forcefully incorporate rest. And let me also add this. I'm reading a book right now, to pastors' wives. And one of the things that she emphasized in chapter 4 was rest. Taking time specifically with your pastor husband to rest. And that's what Matt and I did. Yes, he was still working on a sermon. But there were also times that we took rest. Like we took time to go eat out. We took time to do an easy breakfast that wasn't a ton of cleanup. We just threw boxes away and then the dishes went in the dishwasher. It's so difficult to get dishes into the dishwasher on Sundays, and like, cause then you have to unload it from the night before and all that. So we've almost given up on Sundays unless the kids fill up to it. So, and it's not a big deal to us. Sometimes we just use paper plates on Sundays, but then like it's extra trash. I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, but it was like she emphasized rest. And then after I read that chapter on Tuesday night, which was after I had filmed last week's video, Matt and I were able to find like little moments of rest to add in to our week. But then like on Sunday, I could have instead, since Thursday I didn't get anything done on my to-do list of projects that I needed to get done at church, I could have went through that whole list and at least got some of it done in that hour and a half that I had. And I just felt like the Lord was like, no, that's not what we're doing today. And I turned to Matt at one point and I said, I don't want church to become, in my mind, a place where there is only work to do. So I said, unless it bothers you, me sitting on the couch while you're at the desk studying, I think I'd want to just sit and read Bible and just relax for a while. And he's like, that sounds fine to me. Because sometimes I get it in my brain like, oh no, this is a burden to Matt, I shouldn't do this. Or, oh no, I'm a burden to this person because I don't do it. And it's not true. And if you've ever been through trauma and things in your past before, you know your brain is dumb like that sometimes, of like, why would that be an inconvenience to me sitting right here? Which some people, that would be distracted by another person being in a room. Matt wasn't. He was fine with it. Like we've started trying to prioritize our covenant marriage and spending time together. So why would it bother him that I was sitting there reading Proverbs while he was studying for his sermon coming up? And it wasn't a problem to him. And I thought it was. And I was the one that was being a distraction by saying that I was a problem. It wasn't a problem to him. So I sat there and I said, no, I'm not going to clean right now. Cleaning is not the top priority right now. God created days of rest for a reason. So my encouragement to you ladies for this week, for this month, for the rest of this year is please, for November, like I said, the paper that we're going to be handing out next week in Homeschool Helpers, I may show it in the next video after we do that. Prioritize saying no in November. Prioritize saying no to things I've had to purposely say no to myself for, was like no doom scrolling. Where you just sit there and mindlessly scroll through Facebook or Reels. I have learned that, like, for me personally, if I'm already completely exhausted and then I start doom scrolling, it will start stressing me out of all the negative that's on social media, with, like, all the negative stuff that's out there right now. Or sometimes it'll make me feel bad of, like, oh, here's this Christmas craft video. I haven't done Christmas crafts with the kids yet. Well, of course I haven't. It's November, and our family doesn't start celebrating Christmas until the day after Thanksgiving. So, of course I haven't. So, like, little stuff like that, watching, you know, social media sometimes can be, and yes, I know, I'm literally a social media content creator. There are times that I have to turn it off, and I'm specific on who other channels that I will watch, because I never want this to become a distraction from what God wants me to do. So my encouragement to you ladies for the month of November is take time to say no. It is okay to say no to not taking care of yourself. Like last night, this is going to sound crazy. So last night I was like, I shouldn't even bother with the shower tonight because I really need to bathe the dog. And it was almost like the Lord immediately came back with like, why? I didn't tell you had to do that. And like, I really, really needed a shower last night. And this is, okay, so this is me, okay, like priority. Tuesdays become the best time for me to swap over our bedding, like the once a week washing the sheets, if you know what I mean. Like, you're supposed to wash them once a week, and especially, like, I had waited too long, and now my face is broke out right here, because I mostly lay on my right side. And I had refreshed the pillows, I had freshened up the comforter, I'd washed the sheets, and put a different set of sheets on. Just because, like, every now and then, like, changing them out between two sets, it makes it feel even more fresh. Like, oh, yeah, I didn't just wash this and put this back on. It's something different. So, like, it's a mental thing. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't even I should not bother. And then it was like, wait, why? And, like, being able to take a shower and then go to bed and clean bedding literally does something to your mindset. It really does. It's like a refresh and a rest thing. So, with just two of the kids here, last night, like, they went ahead and got ready for bed. They also had their bedding, and they had showers, and then they had their bedding, and so they got ready for bed, and then that gave me like an hour to read, because Matt takes Tuesday nights to be out of the house and spend some time with friends, and he actually, prayers for him, he actually was able to have some pretty good spiritual conversations with friends recently that he has been concerned about. And so that's his Tuesday night, and like, it gives him, and I'm glad, because like, he needs time to not just be at work, just be at home, or just be at church. I'm glad he took that time, and then that gave me time to read that book, to Pastors' Wives, and be able to read. So last night the Lord had already told me before I touched that book what my topic for today was going to be, because I pray about it between videos, and he had told me that my topic was going to be no in November. And I gotta open up the book, and chapter 5 is a part 1 of 2 of when to say no and when to say yes. And spoiler, if you haven't read the book yet, it's called How to Thrive as a Pastor's Wife by Christine Hoover. And the first chapter on that says, you can't rely on somebody else to tell you what your yeses and nos are. Your goal right now, when you're learning to be a pastor's wife, when you are a pastor's wife, is sometimes because you're always serving in church, your mind replaces that one-on-one relationship with Jesus Christ and service with service at church, and that's not how that works. So one of the things I've been working on is trying to spend more time studying and reading. Sometimes I'll read. Right now I'm going through reading the book of Proverbs in a month, because I haven't done it in forever. I did it a lot whenever I was a teenager. There's a fluff from the microphone coming over it, because I've got a windsock on my microphone. I haven't done it since I think I have done it since I wasn't a teenager, because 1 year the legalist church we were going to required, not optional, everyone to read the book of Proverbs and the book of Psalms in a month, which means you had to read 5 Psalms, and yes, you had to read Psalm 116, 117, 118, 119, and 120 in one day. That was, like, I think it literally took me hours to complete that, and I was like, I am never doing this again. Like, it was a whole challenge thing, but we all had to do it. Like, not had to, but like, he would belittle you from the pulpit if you didn't. That was probably the last time I did it, and maybe the burnout from that was why I didn't. But I was really encouraged recently from the Kids U.S. History course and from my own pastor talking about reading through Proverbs to just pick back up Proverbs. And my pastor's wife also frequently, I don't know if she still does, like, read 1 proverb a day for the month. And so I was like, I really want to do that. So this week I've been focused on, I don't just read it once, I try to go back and read it 2 to 3 times in a day whenever I have time. And like, as somebody who's raised a lot of little kids at once, like when my youngest was born, I had, at the point that she was born, I had 3 kids under 4 years old. And so I get it. It's hard when you have littles. It is so hard to have devotional time. My encouragement to you guys is learn when to say no and learn to prioritize. And instead of doing those things that you're saying no to, instead of saying, when you say, no, I'm not going to doom scroll, do something else instead. Like last night, and you're going to hear about this in tomorrow's video, which I'm literally fixing to refilm, or fixing to film immediately after this one. We played Clue together. My youngest 2 and I played Clue while the other 2 were gone. And it was really refreshing to just sit down and play Clue together. And then we watched Sherlock Holmes together. Like the old one, the black and white one. They don't make TV like they used to anymore. And it was just really refreshing and nice. So yeah, that's my encouragement to you guys today. It's okay to say no. And like, if you actually need somebody to tell you that, it is okay to say no. And sometimes I need to be told that it's okay to say no. But make sure that when you say no, you do replace that with things that God wants you to do. Sometimes it might be you need to say no to wash. Like yesterday, I said no to having the video up on time. And if you saw yesterday's video, it was not up on time. It wasn't even filmed by yesterday morning. And honestly, I said no. And I know you guys are looking forward to the videos, but I said no to it being up on time because I needed a nap. Normally on first Mondays, or the Monday after first Sundays, we sleep in and we may take a nap even later in the day because first Sundays are so physically exhausting, which I didn't feel as bad, but because my oldest 2 were getting picked up for their house sitting job in the morning on first Monday, Monday after first Sunday, then we didn't get to sleep in. And so by the end of the day, I was exhausted. Like I just sat in the chair for a couple of hours before bed because I was so exhausted. I couldn't do anything else. And a lot of that also was like the adrenaline of trying to get them out the door, make sure they had their food, make sure they had their clothes, make sure they had everything they needed. And so yesterday I said no to, I did not have to have that video up on time. And you guys have still watched it and still given feedback on it. But I did not have to have that video up on time. That was my pressure for myself. I'm the one who set my YouTube schedule. I didn't have to have that up on time. And I could have filmed that over the weekend. And I really felt like the Lord was like, no, there's times that I have to say no to having the camera out because having the camera out is extra. It's extra steps. It's extra work. It's extra planning around like not showing the kids on camera when they don't want to be, or like, there's moments like and I think we got more accomplished on Saturday because we didn't have the camera out. So make sure you're saying no to those things, but you're also replacing it. So yesterday I said no to having the YouTube video up on time, and I slept in yesterday, and I felt so much better and felt even more refreshed to be able to get up and make the video and then edit it and have it out on time and be able to also be ready mentally for Algebra 2 because one of mine had an Algebra 2 quiz yesterday. And I felt more refreshed and ready to be able to take that on. So don't just say no. Also make sure that you're prioritizing self-care. Make sure you're prioritizing your walk with Christ. Make sure you're prioritizing time with just your kids, your husband, whatever. Make a list of things that you want to do and see if there's somewhere that you could say no to and try to plug that in. And if not, pray that God gives you the opportunities to do that, and He will hear the desires of your heart as long as you put Him first and foremost. Because as another pastor I've heard recently has been encouraging, like, it's so easy in today's world to get caught up with, but I need this bill paid, but I need this prayer answered right now, I need this. And God's like, seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. We lose that focus on the kingdom of God first, and sometimes we need to focus back on that. That's it for today's video. 4 things I want to tell you guys. Number 1, Jesus truly does love you, and that's why He wants you to take times of rest. That's why He wants you to say no. And when you do say no to those things, He's there waiting for you to do what He wants you to do, because He wants what is best for you. He's not selfish like the people of this world. He wants what is best for you. Number 2, thank you to all of our members for supporting this content, especially Cheryl and Jen. Number 3, thank you to every single one of you who like, watch, positive comments, and subscribe, because that truly does help me out to be able to be motivated to keep going with these videos. And number 4, we hope to see every single one of you next time. Thank you.